Guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Joni from the blog simplelivingmama.com, and in today's video I'm going to give you guys a little tour of our square foot garden, and then we're going to head inside and I'm going to make one of our favorite summer dinners to share with you. Now I'm going to show you guys what we've got going on in the garden. If you followed along with our journey, you know that we're currently in a rental house. We have a very small backyard space, but there was a bed that was already here before we moved in that had nothing in it, and so we just decided to use that bed to grow vegetables. We are very new at this whole square foot gardening thing. This is our second year, and I will admit that this year the tomatoes went absolutely nuts, and it looks kind of wild. It's a bit of a tomato jungle. So there are a lot of lessons that have been learned and some things that we'll do differently next year. But we'll talk about that when I flip the camera around and I show you guys what we've got going on. With that being said, and the tomatoes out of control, we are getting lots of tomatoes. We're getting cucumbers, and our peppers are starting to come in. So that's really the main things that we're growing in our little square foot garden. We've got several tomato plants, 3 cucumber plants, and 3 pepper plants. And we're still getting quite a bit. So, you know, despite the fact that it's gone absolutely nuts and I'm out here picking tomatoes every single day, it's still producing quite a bit for our family. And they're actually some of the best tomatoes that we've ever grown. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and show you the jungle. All right, guys. So this is my jungle of a square foot garden. Keep in mind, this is the end of July, so things went crazy. And we did plant way too many tomato plants, and I did not get in there and prune them and string them up. Last year I was very diligent about pruning of the tomatoes, and this year it just went crazy on me before I could get out here and really prune them. But like I said, we're still getting lots of really good, great tomatoes, despite the fact that it has turned into a complete jungle, and I kind of just gave up. So as you can see, the tomato vines went nuts. They're like falling over, but it's okay. We get out here every single day and we pick what we can pick. So this is really not the best size bed for square foot gardening, simply because I think it's probably a 6 by 6, and anything that gets planted in the middle of this bed is hard to get to no matter what. So that's definitely something that we didn't really take into consideration when we planted these tomatoes. As you can see, we had to come up with a solution to keep the tomato plants off of the pepper plants because they went crazy. I mean, we have 6 tomato plants in this bed, and they would have taken over the whole thing. Now, I think I was reading outdated advice, because when I was trying to learn about square foot gardening, it says, oh, you can plant 1 tomato plant per square. So, you know, that's what we did. We did like 3 here and 3 here. A lot of people are saying now that you really need like 4 squares per tomato plant, and I can definitely see why they would say that. Also, it's probably pretty pertinent to make sure that you are properly pruning those tomatoes for the proper airflow, as well as, you know, just trying to control some of the crazy growth. But that's okay, guys, because we are learning, and we'll do better next year, because we'll probably still be here next summer in this space. So over here I have some Big Bertha plants. We've gotten like 2 or 3 peppers off this plant already, and it's really starting to take off now that the tomatoes are off of it. Let's see, this is also part of it. So here's a little one that's growing. It's got several different little flower spots on it, so we'll probably get a few more before the season is over. And then I've got 2 jalapeno plants over here. So here are those those are doing pretty good now that we got the tomato plants off. And then we just planted these strawberry plants in here. I wasn't really sure if they were going to do anything or not. And like I said, the tomatoes went crazy and covered them up. So there's some flowers, and we really haven't gotten any edible strawberries off of those. So I have no idea what's going to happen with all of that. I have some zinnias over here that I didn't even mean to plant in this little planter. They're kind of coming to the end. I think I need to come out here and trim all of these that are spent, but look, I mean, they're still putting out tons of flowers. And this thing dries out super quick, so you have to be really careful about making sure that this stays watered. So there's a tomato plant in here as well that we recently had a storm, and I haven't even really messed with this tomato plant at all, but it's got some tomatoes on it, so that's not been one that I've been too concerned about. So it doesn't even have a cage or anything on it. And then there's a watermelon plant growing out of this thing. We've got one over here. We did pluck off, I think, 2 other little ones that were growing. And then we've got lots more flowers. So maybe we'll get 1 or 2 good watermelons. I don't know. This is all an experiment. We'll have to see. I wouldn't really recommend growing watermelons out of a container like this in a little backyard, but my kids really wanted to grow watermelons, so we said we would try. Now over here we have 3 cucumber plants. As you can see, it's spilling out onto the ground, and we have a trellis. So the trellis is dividing the cucumber plants from the tomato plants. And we've gotten tons of cucumbers already from this one plant, or these 3 plants right here. So that's been good. And then my kids also, which this is not something I would recommend that you do, but it's something that we did. They planted a bean plant on the other side of the trellis, and it's really kind of taken off over here. So I don't know if we're going to get anything from this or not, but I see some damage. The Japanese beetles like this bean plant, but that's okay. We're getting lots of cucumbers. Maybe we'll get some beans. Not real sure. We've gotten peppers coming in. We've already picked quite a few, and there's more that are coming on. And then here's a tomato jungle. So like I said, we planted 6 tomato plants, and normally, like last year, I was on top of this. This is like a fungus or something. I would get all of the disease leaves off. This year I just haven't had the same kind of time, and it just went nuts. But we're gonna get everything that we can get off of these tomato plants, and we're gonna try again next year. So we've got some cherry tomato plants growing right here, and we've got Romas down here, and grape tomatoes right here. And then behind the grape tomatoes are big boys. And then we had one heirloom tomato plant that's really kind of smushed in the corner and is not doing that great just because of the space that it's in, but we did get some tomatoes from it as well. So we are still, even though we don't know exactly what we're doing, we're still getting plenty of vegetables. And I just wanted to show you guys that even if you have a really small space, not a lot of space to plant a garden, that you can try. You can use the resources available to you and try to grow some stuff. This right here is kind of neat. This is an avocado tree. My son actually grew this from an avocado seed that we got at a grocery store. He set it up in a mason jar with some toothpicks and some water, and it grew. Now we have tried to sprout other avocado seeds and have not been successful, but this one has been successful, and it's got a little bit of damage on it, but it is growing. So that was kind of cool. This right here in this container is some mint, so we just grow that whenever to have some fresh mint on hand. And we do have some containers over here. So this is the passion fruit that I was talking about. Passion fruit is a vine, but it's being grown in this container, and this is what they look like. I think we've got 5 or 6 on it this year. So that's been kind of neat. They make really, really pretty flowers before they turn into fruit. I might insert a picture of what a passion fruit flower looks like for you. And then we got rosemary growing in this container. And then this is the citrus. It looks like it's got some, wow. I didn't realize that one was gonna have thorns on it. But this is definitely the citrus plant that we bought. I think we bought this guy last year, and it's just really taken off and grown, and apparently it has thorns. So that is a current look at our square foot garden at the end of July, when things have turned into a jungle, but we're still getting plenty of food. And we're gonna go inside and we're gonna cook. All right, so for today's meal, we're going to be making some pork tenderloin, and this is honestly my favorite pork tenderloin. It's so flavorful. All of my kids love it. And all you really have to do is open it up and then roast it in the oven. It could not be simpler. So we're gonna go ahead and put all of that in the pan. We're gonna roast it, and then we're gonna make the rest of the meal. Now we're going to make some baked potatoes in the pressure cooker. This is also a really easy thing to do. So I make sure that I rinse and scrub my potatoes, and then I poke them all with a fork so that the steam can escape. And then I just simply add some water to my pressure cooker and pressure cook it on the vegetable setting for 8 minutes, and the potatoes honestly come out perfect. Another side we're going to have with this meal is simply some sliced tomatoes from the garden. So I don't think there's really anything better than homegrown tomatoes. Yes, I do need to sharpen my knife, I know that. But we are going to slice those tomatoes up, and then we're just going to add some Himalayan pink salt and put them on a tray. Everybody loves them, and they are so delicious. And this is a really simple and easy side dish. Our last side dish is roasted asparagus. So I have washed my asparagus, and now I am chopping the ends off. And then all I'm going to do is just place them on a baking pan, add some olive oil and some salt and pepper, and I'll roast them in the oven at 425 for about 15 to 17 minutes. And this is another one that probably about half of my kids really enjoy. So here is a look at all of our food that's come out of the oven. I did the meat thermometer and the pork tenderloin to make sure that it was cooked through. Once it had cooled down enough, I sliced it, and then I plated everybody's food, and we got to eat. This is a super simple, easy summer dinner. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We have new homemaking or homeschooling videos every week, and I'll see you guys in the next one.